Welcome to the Seeker's Hollow. I'm Brian. Welcome back to Dolmenwood, Hunters of the Aldweald. This is part 7. Where we left off last time, we had a rather interesting encounter. We had a pretty successful day of fishing. We were able to get some rations. And then we ran into some mad toms along the bank of the river. And the mad toms were actually suffering from an illness, some kind of infection, illness, disease, and we were able to successfully parlay with them, and they requested that we bring their medicine worker to come and help them. And unfortunately, 4 of them did die in the time that it took to get the worker there, but we were able to save 2 of them. And one thing that I found that's pretty cool that I didn't know about in the monster book is that a lot of the monsters, they actually have names down on the very bottom of the page. So I went ahead and rolled a name for the one Mad Tom that we parlayed with that told us what to do to help them, and then also gave us a reward. And so he ended up coming up with the name Grolp. So I've written Grolp down in our list of NPCs that we have a connection to, and I've written down about our bond that we rescued Grolp and one other Mad Tom. And so maybe in the future it might be possible that we can have more parlayed with Grolp and do something to deepen that bond with the Mad Toms. For whatever that might bring about in the future. So, but anyway, very cool that you can have the names in there. And there really is a lot of wonderful details for all the different monsters. So, like pretty much everything in Dolmenwood, the amazingly detailed monster book and very fun to use. All right, so even though it was kind of a crazy situation, things did go fairly well for us, being able to get a little bit of treasure, being able to get some gems. And really, we've got a potential to have a decent amount of gold here if we can go and sell these things in Prigwort. And that's going to really reduce the burden on us a little bit in terms of being able to make this trek over to Ryecroft to assist the apothecary. And one thing that I'm not going to be doing, at least right now, is giving experience points for gold. The biggest reason I'm not doing that is because I'm giving a lot of experience for exploration. 500 per hex just for visiting the hex, and then 500 for uncovering secret sites and kind of like really delving into the hex. So, and then, of course, I'm giving XP for camping and hunting and, well, not really for camping, but for cooking and fishing and foraging and all that kind of stuff. So, so I'm not going to give XP for gold right now, but maybe in the future, certainly depending on how long this actually goes. But one thing is I added up the experience that we've earned so far, and everyone has 1,800 experience now, and 7 is actually at the place where she can level up. So we are going to level up 7 right now. So she is now level 2, and I've got that written in here on her character sheet, and we're going to go through the process to level her up, which is exciting because I have never done that before. And so we'll need to go and see on her class page, the enchanter, what she can do for leveling up. And she's going to get 1d6 hit points per level right now. So let's roll for her hit points. We're going to hope for something good here. And we only got a 1, sadly. But anyway, 5 is still pretty good, and that actually gives her more hit points than anyone else in the party for right now. So we're still happy to have that. And let's see what else she can do. she's gonna get one more glamour, so that's really nice. And it looks like no changes to her saved targets so far, but she will get one more glamour, and she's actually going to get she's going to get 300 experience for that as well, because that is something that I have kind of set for my game for her, is that she gets 300 experience for finding for learning glamours and runes and that sort of thing. So that's going to put her at 2100 now. And for next level, she's going to need 3500 for level 3. Okay. So let's see what glamour she's going to get. This is always pretty exciting to get another ability like this, and it could be very useful, of course. So we're going to roll a d20, and of course if we get a glamour that she already has, we'll roll for something else. She got a 14, which is Moonsight, so that is something new that I think she does not have. And this is a permanent thing, it's always active, so that's kind of nice and easy, and definitely powerful. And the caster can see in darkness up to 60 feet, viewing the world as though it glows in faint moonlight. And this does not incur low light penalties, but fine detail, for example, writing, cannot be perceived. So that's actually very good. That's very powerful. And basically what that means is we're always going to have at least one person in the party, assuming that she is not incapacitated or something like that, that can see in the dark, even if we do not have any light source or something like that. So she now has Moonsight, and that's going to be see in darkness for 60 feet. All right, so that's very good. And would have been nice to get a little bit more hit points, but yeah, very good. And also the other two characters, of course, are pretty close to leveling up, so that's excellent. And now we are going to camp. We spent the whole day fishing, and then we spent several hours rescuing the Mad Tom, so we definitely need to camp now. So let's roll for the firewood. And we're going to have 8 firewood, so we're good on that. And then we'll roll for cooking and camaraderie. So we got a 2 on the camaraderie, and I think with our bonus, that might not hit 4. So yeah, we got a 1 bonus, so that's not going to be successful. And then we got a 1 on the cooking. And so now we need to save versus Doom, because that is the rather embarrassing cooking result of probably burning and destroying the food. So let's have Samwise roll versus Doom. Even with his bonus, it would only be a 3, so he still wouldn't succeed on that cooking there. And that is an 8, so he is not going to pass that. And that means that we will burn an additional... we're going to burn an additional ration, unfortunately. But at least we are going to have the ability to probably buy a pretty good amount of rations with our treasure. So everyone is going to use 1 ration right now. And then Samwise is going to use an extra 1 because he destroyed the food. And then we'll make our check for a nighttime encounter. And that is a 3, so we won't have a nighttime encounter. And everyone rests soundly for the night. And I don't think anybody needs to heal. Nope. So everyone is okay for that. And we're going to start the next day. And this is going to be day 2 chime. And we are starting out in hex 1005. And let's roll for weather. So that's going to be a 6, which is going to mean clement and cheery. So good weather today. No negative effect. And we're still in the Aldweald and we're still in the Tangled Forest. And now we're going to make our way over to, we're going to start out early and trek our way over to Prigwort and see about selling our treasure and stocking up for our journey over to Ryecroft. And so it's going to take us 4 hours of travel. We'll say that we're starting at 8 a.m. So we'll get over to, we're moving kind of from the middle of the hex here over to Prigwort. So it's going to be 4 hours. So we'll arrive at noon in Prigwort. There's no roll to get lost because we're on the road, but we do have the possibility of an encounter 2 and 6, and that is a 3. So we're not going to have an encounter. So we arrive uneventfully in Prigwort. And now that we are in Prigwort, we're going to want to first probably sell our treasure, and then secondly we're going to want to meet up with our apothecary that we are going to be escorting out to Ryecroft. So if we go to the Sea of Stars, which is number 7 here, we can talk with the jeweler about our treasure that we want to sell here. So let's head over to the Sea of Stars. Now that we are in Prigwort, we can also roll for a random encounter in Prigwort. So let's do that as well. And we've got a 3, so there's going to be 1d3 brewmasters overseeing transport of a giant vat of liquid to the town hall. Okay. Okay, let's see how many brewmasters this actually is. And it's a 2, so there's going to be 2 brewmasters. And there's 7 different brewmaster houses. And I wonder which brewmaster house these are. So we can take a look at them and see if we can see anything that indicates what they are. Now, they all have their own insignia. So I think we could do like a 1d8 here and see what kind of result we get. So that's a 6. So we'll say that we have House Sumfrish. They specialize in Aspinthion of all kinds, and their insignia is a crow drinking from a chalice. And the leader is the Elevated Ignatius Craphand. Okay. So we see that there's House Sumfrish. We see the insignia of House Sumfrish. And let's ask the Oracle, is the other brewmaster from the same house or from a different house? Yes or no? And that looks like no. So they are from the same house. So we have 2 brewmasters from the House of Sumfrish transporting. And so as they're transporting this giant vat of liquid, what else could we possibly see? So House Sumfrish is actually located at number 6 here, which is right across the street from the Sea of Stars, which is the jeweler. So I think it makes sense that we run into them in that area. And let's see, are they willing to speak with us at all? And that is going to be a no. So they're just too busy moving their big vat to pay attention to what we are doing. and that's okay. We'll let them pass on their way. They are right near to us there. As I said, right across the street. Let's see if we can see some more details on the big map here. So there is like a little bit of a courtyard going on here, and you got a fountain and stuff like that. So, all right. So we make our way into the Sea of Stars, the jeweler. And as we make our way over, it's a tall, narrow store, 4 stories high, painted with pearls, mermaids, and gaudy nautical scenes. And the sign for the Sea of Stars is a flotsam of bejeweled goblets and caskets drifting on a tranquil sea. So as we make our way inside, we can see a luxurious suite with floral upholstered couches, elegant oil paintings, and display cases of polished inlaid wood. So it certainly has a fairly rich and decorated appearance. And the proprietor, Haig Jericorn, greets clients from behind a grand consulting desk. The upper floors are off limits to customers occupied by the safe room and the proprietor's private lodgings. So yeah, they've got to have those extra floors to store all the treasure that they no doubt buy. And they've got 6 guards who are level 1 fighters, armed with crossbows and swords. 3 stand discreetly outside the store, with 3 more guarding the safe room. So it's a pretty well guarded place. And let's read about Haig Jericorn, the proprietor. So Haig is a human woman in her late 30s with cool gray eyes, straight red hair to her waist, and a birthmark across her left eye and cheek. She dresses in an odd melange of courtly gowns and utilitarian artisan's apron. And she is neutral, and her demeanor is disarming serenity and charm, the grace and poise of a dancer. She has a reckless streak. So she's no doubt skilled at speaking in a persuasive and calming way to her guests, who are probably going to be spending lots of money or selling priceless items. Her speech is hypnotically melodic, and she speaks Woldish. And won't go into the rest here too much. Okay, so that's all going to be good there. So she can buy and sell treasures following the settlement rules from the player's book. And they stock a wide range of gems and jewelry of decent quality. All right, so we'll take a look in the player's book. And we can see that for buying and selling treasure, gems, jewelry, and art objects can be bought and sold at the specialist jeweler store in towns and cities. They can buy gems and jewelry, which is what we're interested in. Or actually, we're interested in selling. So jewelers will purchase items from adventurers at 80% of their full value. Okay, so we're going to total up the value and see what 80% is going to be worth, and then we will come back. Okay, so the value of our 5 gems that we got, a smoky quartz, an amber, 2 barrels, and a clear quartz, the value at 80% is 928 gold, and so that means 232 gold for each of our characters, if I calculated that right. Okay, no, so that's going to be 309 per character. I'm not sure what I did there. Might have taken 20% off twice or something. Okay, so 309 gold is going to go to each of our characters here. So we'll write those in on their inventories. Okay, so right now each character is going to take 200 gold, and then they're going to put the other 109 into the bank. And I do have a sheet for the bank here. So we've got 109 times 3, so we're going to have 327 gold is going to go into the bank in Prigwort. So we'll remember that we've got that. And as far as buying things, we certainly want to buy rations, and Loblo would definitely like to buy a companion, although he does not have, I think he is not high enough level to buy the one that I would like to get, because it's level 2. Although I guess we could say that maybe he could just have it follow along with him, but not participate in battles or anything until he reaches level 2. But the other thing is the market here in Prigwort is only open, I think 2 days a week. And that's where you'd be able to buy hounds and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, the market is not going to be open today. We just missed it. And we're definitely not going to wait a whole week, simply because we are already going to try to fulfill the mission with the apothecary Waydred Vague. So, with that in mind, everyone will just hold on to their gold, and we'll probably have the ability to stop in a different town somewhere. So let's look now at how we are going to get to Ryecroft. So we go ahead and meet with Waydred Vague, and we'll say that we have asked him to meet us at the Clashed Antler. So we're going to make our way over to the Clashed Antler, which is our usual spot, and we are going to have a little dinner with Waydred Vague, and he has decided to furnish us with a dinner. So we thank him for that, and we don't have to worry about calculating the cost for that. So, but let's see what they are going to eat this time. So we have common food here. Let's see what's on the menu for today. Roll a 1d8. 5. So we've got sausage and mash, and we've got, whoa, this dice doesn't want to stay. We've got 6, which is the shanky. So I think we had the shanky the first time that when we started out our adventure. But the sausage and mash, that has fried bog swine sausages from Dreg on a bed of mashed Swede potato or carrot. So that sounds pretty good. And then let's roll one side dish. We've got the Hamath Sprats, little fish, crispy fried in batter. Okay. So some pretty good stuff there. And I think they are going to have a beverage as well. And Loblo wants to try all of the beers, of course. He wants to try every beer that he possibly can. So we might want to keep track of which beers that Loblo has. So we will note that on his character sheet, since that is a goal for him. Let's look at that exactly. So yeah, he wants to sample all the known ales. So let's see what's going to be available right now. So all common beverages and 3 to 4 uncommon are available. So that's going to be, all of these are available, and then 3 to 4 of these are available. So let's roll on the uncommon ones and see what we've got available. So we have 16, which is the the Wakaliki's Scarlet. And then we've got 13, which is the Pokinog. And then we have 17, which is the Earl Yellow Tea. And then 20, which is the Inkling Wine. Okay, so none of those are a beer, so I think Loblo is not going to be interested in one of those. Let's roll on, or actually no, he can just pick one of these. I guess we could roll a D4 and see which beer he's going to go with. So let's roll that. And 3. So Loblo is going to go with the Marrow White Dark beer. The Marrow White Dark is a thick stout as black as midnight on a moonless night, and it tastes of smoky bacon, and it brings on a woozy empathy. Well, any beer that tastes like bacon sounds pretty good to me. All right, so they're all enjoying their sausage and mash and shanky and Hammoth Sprats, and Loblo is enjoying his Marrow White Dark beer. And they are discussing with Waydred Vague about the journey over to Ryecroft. So he's going to tell them where Ryecroft is located. And I do want to write in here the beers that Loblo has had. So put that one down. Okay, so Waydred Vague tells us that the location of Ryecroft is going to be over in Hex 1806, and he believes that there is also an old, somewhat abandoned town in 1706 near Ryecroft. So, or sorry, 1707. Now, he has never been there himself, and there's a reason that a lot of people haven't been there and that the place is disused, and that is because there has been some problems with infectious diseases in the area. But this was hundreds of years ago, so the place has fallen completely into disrepair, and not many people really know the status of the village that is there. There may be some people who know, but it's not really common knowledge. And what we're going to have to do is take a pretty long trek, he tells us, down the Horse Eye Road and then down the King's Highway to make our way over. And these couple hexes of the King's Highway don't actually have any... these are not actually keyed hexes or numbered hexes. So I'll probably just kind of abstract those a little bit. We will calculate the travel time and distance, but it might be just something kind of abstracted as we sort of move our way up into there. And I may not give like the full 500 experience or something for that. But so anyway, as we can see, we've got a pretty long trek, and we do have the possibility of stopping at Castle Brackenwold along the way, he tells us. And that might be where we can gear up a little bit, and we can maybe get a hound for our hunter, for Loblo. So that's something that we're going to try to keep in mind, and hopefully when we get there, we find that there are some things that we can purchase. So for now, the only things that we're going to do is we're going to rest for the night, and we're also going to buy some rations to make sure that we have all of the rations that we need, at least for a little ways as we travel down the road. And we're not going to be taking so much time to stop and forage and fish and all that kind of stuff. Probably we will a little bit, maybe have 1 or 2 days doing that. But generally speaking, we're going to try to get over to the Ryecroft area as soon as we can. So a little bit more about Waydred Vague. He's got shaven hair, darting eyes, and an excessively hairy body, and his speech is mumbling, and he dresses in sturdy boots and a raincoat, dressing kind of in the dress of a traveler, and he has a kindly demeanor, and he believes that there is a sunken village in Lake Longmere. Okay, so maybe he tells us something about that as we're discussing various matters over our dinner. And he also has a desire to collect saintly relics. And that's something that I'm going to put down on here as maybe some kind of a bonus. That if we can find some saintly relics, we might be able to get some bonus experience or gold or something from Waydred for that. And we do need to be pretty well outfitted because we have to travel there, which is not very close. And we also need to be able to spend 3 full days there. And we don't know what we're going to find as far as the village that is reported to be in the area. And we don't know exactly how rough and crazy things are going to be at Ryecroft itself at the cemetery. All right, and for Waydred, I'm not giving him any stats or anything. He's not going to be a full companion with combat and all that. He's simply just like a level 0 or maybe level 1 apothecary, and he's just going to accompany us and sort of abstract his things as we kind of go along. So we'll say that we can buy some rations here at the inn, and those are 2 gold each for preserved rations. So we're going to buy probably going to buy 3 for each person, and it looks like we're going to need 7 rations, so we're going to be paying 14 gold for our 7 rations. So we'll just take that out of Samwise's gold here. So he's going to go down to 86 there. And now everyone is going to have 3 rations. Okay, and if everyone has 3 rations, that actually brings us down to 4 travel points. So I'm not going to write in that ration there since we'll just use it the first night that we're on the road. But yeah, so we are only going to have 4 travel points for the next day, for our first day, as we set out from Prigwort. Okay, and then we're going to stay the night here at the inn, and I think this time the party's going to get a little bit nicer room this time, possibly. Let's see what other rooms they've got. So we've got the common quality rooms. So everyone is going to get, let's see, probably either a private room for 1 night, or we do have the private cottages as well, which is 1 gold per person per night, including a simple breakfast. Each cottage can accommodate 6. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go with the private cottage. So everyone's going to spend 1 gold for that. And they all get to have a free breakfast in the morning before they head out. Okay, and everybody still had a little bit of gold in their belt pouch, so we took some gold out of there. And they're just going to have a quick breakfast and make their way out of Prigwort at 8 a.m. And then we're going to travel down the road. And so we've only got 4 travel points. So how far are we going to be able to get? So with 4 travel points, we'll be able to make it to Hex 1307. So right down over here, we'll say that we can make it to, yeah, that's where the marker is. The next mile marker or travel marker is here. So today we can make it to right here in 1307. And let's roll for our weather today. See what we're going to have. So it's now going to be day 3, which is Haim. And we're starting out from Prigwort in hex 1106. And our weather is going to be a 7, which is warm and sunny. So they got great weather to start their journey down, and we've got no ill effect from weather. So everything is looking good there. So it's going to take us the full day to get here due to our slower travel speed. And when we enter the hex, we are going to get 500 experience for that. So note that down. Don't forget that. And that's for going into hex 1307. And this is our first time entering into, I think this is like the open forest is what this one is called. Let's look on the map here. Yeah, this is an open forest. So we've only been in the tangled forest. So it's the first time getting into the open forest. And we don't have to do a lost roll, but we do need to roll for an encounter. So I guess we'll roll from the tangled forest because that's where we spent most of our travel time. And that's a 4, so we're not going to have an encounter. I believe in the open forest, the encounter rate is a little bit lower. I think it's 1 in 6, possibly, for the open forest. Okay, so the party's had a long day of travel, and they've traveled relatively slowly because they're all pretty bogged down carrying all their new gold and all their rations. And so now we're just going to set up camp and pass the day there, and then maybe in the morning they will maybe spend a little bit of time looking around at what they find in hex 1307. But it's been a pretty rushed day, and they've just been trying to get to their destination. But I think we should see at least what this establishment is right here, because we've got some kind of a little inn or something. So 1307 is the refuge of St. Key. And there are spacious glades of majestic beech and oak, and a profusion of songbirds, cheery twittering fills the air. So there is a wayside monastery, and the building is fastidiously maintained, but with a touch of austerity about it. And I guess this is going to be, I guess that's going to be what that is right there. That's the Wayside Monastery. They do have lodging and food of common quality. Only private rooms are available. Meals are always served with freshly baked caraway buns. Dinner is seldom available later than 8 in the evening. So I think we were actually already... I think we were arriving there at about 8 p.m. because it's been a long day of travel. They do have the monastery ale as well. So maybe we want to have them rest, but I think we can have them take a little look at the monastery a little bit and see what's going on in there. But we will do that when we come back next time. So thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you then. Take care.